take on Eastern Division rival. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us right back here on PR Live, your home for the National Lacrosse League in 2020. Back alongside my podcast, Mark Francis. Here with the play-by-play story this evening. I'm Chris Cunningham. Yes, indeed, a big matchup with major playoff implications across the National Lacrosse League. Right now, Georgia sitting at 7-4 on the year. They are winners of 5 of their last 6 ball games. At 7-4, they sit in second place in each division, a game behind New England and a game ahead of Philadelphia. Philadelphia, who has now lost 3 consecutive games, 5 out of the last 6, and they sit at 7-6 on the year.
The tale of two different Saturday nights for these two teams. Georgia Swarm take the lead with 13-27 left to go. The contest tied at 6-6. Ended up winning that game. Philadelphia, on the other hand, came into the fourth quarter tied at 6-6 against New England. Ended up giving up 3 out of the 4 goals scored in the fourth quarter, and they're falling in that game. They need to represent for urgency tonight.
Yes. Yeah, both of these games, both of these teams have been starting on the second end of back-to-back. So let's focus on Philadelphia off the top of the broadcast. They're getting tremendous performances from a handful of guys, including Kevin Crowley.
Yeah, Kevin Crowley started in
Talking about Randy Stocks. His goalkeepers were down for a little while and all year long.
Yeah, and watch that. When we talk about the physicality of both teams coming off the doubleheader, does it kind of help that both teams, the ways that you guys are coming off the doubleheader when it comes to how you guys recover in the last 24 hours? Between these two teams, the Wings and Swarm, they do physical. You did mention that a second ago. How is the preparation for this one preparing for this kind of team? Like you guys are expected to win today. Looking forward to face off coming up. Back to you guys.
It's interesting, Brandon. We talk about the physicality, but at the same time, I'm sure that you believe want to see that Titans. We think we're getting a plotting affair. But remember, folks, 5 out of the top 11 scorers in the league, point-wise, taking part in this ballgame. Maybe 5 seconds to there'll be a big focus on what we talk about tonight. Metro Atlanta, the Wings and the Swarm. We are live. The National Lacrosse League on PR Live is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes can save you 15 or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com to see how much you can save today. Now time for tonight's inactive report. There's Luis Graciano, honored before the ball game. We'll get to the inactive report a little bit later. The oldest living member of the Battle of the Bulge during World War II. He was on the beaches of Normandy, Brandon.
The greatest generation.
Believe that. Those great old gentlemen and ladies starting to fade away into the history books. He'll be here all throughout the the afternoon and into the evening in Metro Atlanta. Here at Sting City. Now, time to take a look at tonight's Inactive Report, brought to you by BetMGM, corporate sponsor of the National Lacrosse League. What do you see, Brandon?
Miles Thompson, 1 goal, 1 assist last night versus the New York Riptide, inactive today. A healthy scratch for the Swarm. He is fine, just getting a day off.
Right, a healthy scratch. That's very important to emphasize, of course. Miles Thompson, that one a late breaking reveal right before we got into the arena today. Tabitha Turner is on the floor with Lyle Thompson. Tabitha?
Coming off a big-time comeback win versus New York last night. How can you guys use that momentum to come in today and get it over Philly?
Keep the same focus. You know, we finished off the game where we wanted last night, and the goal tonight is to come out and keep that same intensity.
Good luck today, Lyle. Thanks.
Thanks.
Guys.
Thank you, Tabitha. She'll be on the floor and on the bench for us all throughout the evening. There you see Ed Cuomo, now the third leading man as far as wins go in National Lacrosse League history in the regular season. 104 wins. His win against New York last night, the Riptide up at Nassau, put him into third place all by himself as he passed Tony Cordingley for third all time. There you see our officials building.
Ian Garrison will be the crew chief tonight. Kyle Korpman and Ryan Datkus will be the 2 assistant refs, and we'll have Andrew Halperin inside working the shot clock. So great officiating crew here tonight, and they're going to have their work cut out with them with the physical nature between these two teams.
Yes, indeed. Garrison, the crew chief, and he'll need to be a chief tonight. This is a really interesting storyline, as I brought up at the top. We talked about the physicality, and of course that'll be a topic tonight, but you've got some great individual athletic talent. Both of these teams play really well together, quite obviously. Philadelphia has scored more goals in this league than anyone this year. Now, they have played 13 ball games, yet Georgia has scored more points and has more assists than anyone. So how about the numbers in greater depth? Georgia, 12.5 goals per game, now number 1 in the league, just ahead of New England. Number 6 in the league defensively in goals allowed per affair.
We have a shot clock that's inactive down behind Zach Higgins, sorry, and they will tell the teams to look up at the scoreboard, and the referees will give time cues on the floor.
Well, that'll give us ample opportunity to check into our BR Live Wired. So Georgia, again, number 1 in the league in goals scored per ball game, number 6 in goals allowed per ball game. They're outscoring their opponents 12.5 to 10.3 per affair.
I think we're just going to need to hit Control-Alt-Delete and then power cycle the shot clock. I think that's how it works.
Pull out the cartridge and blow it to the end of it.
Yeah, we'll go Super Nintendo for this.
Philadelphia, meanwhile, 9th in the league in goals scored per ball game. That's really strange considering how many goals that they've scored this year. But again, remember, they've played as many, if not more games than anyone in the league. 10.7 is what they're averaging offensively. 4th in the league defensively in goals allowed at 9.5 allowed per ball game. So they've been a little bit better defensively than the Swarm have in some ways. While they've scored a lot, their per game average a little bit lower than a lot of people would have guessed. We talked about Ed Cuomo a moment ago. The official's still working through the shot clock thing. I believe one of the shot clocks back here behind Poulin is on. So they may have to run with just the 1 shot clock, to your point a moment ago. But let me mention this really quick. Remember, of course, the head coach for Philadelphia. We talked about Ed Cuomo a moment ago. 2-time champion. Paul Day, of course, knows a little something about championships. As either a player, a coach, or a GM, he's won the cup 5 times.
Due to the shot clock down. Test. Hello? There we are. Due to the shot clock being non-functional, we'll use the shot clocks that exist on the game clock up top.
Well, I suppose they don't trust the 1 shot clock that is on to operate correctly. Of course, the fine staff here at the Infinite Energy Arena in Metro Atlanta, Duluth, Georgia to be precise, is hard at work to try to get things fixed.
And that one's currently frozen too. It's stuck at 26.
Randy Stotts goes in and puts on the first shot of the ball game, it'll head over and we'll head back the other way. Paul Day, of course.
So they're going to stop it now. Sorry to interrupt.
No,
and they're
you
going to
go
have to manually keep time on the floor. This is not, unforeseen, especially at various levels of athletics too. They will keep time on the floor. They will give
You reset the shot clock,
players
what
time
happens
to
right
use
now?
it about 15 to 10.
It's going to be interesting to
So
see
you're
how it
doing that, it
affects
resets
the
up
flow
there.
of play in this ball game. Philadelphia and Georgia both have had ball games this year where they have played really low-scoring affairs. So it'll be interesting. By the way, I got to mention this because it's a historic note. I got to get back to Paul Day really quick. He's got 93 wins now in league history in the regular season as a head coach. He's got a chance to get to that 100-win mark here over the next season and a half in Philadelphia. Shot on top of Poulin. That's no good. Going to ricochet off the board and come out to the midfield stripe where it's scooped up. Noble going to give off to McIntosh. The captain puts a shot on top of Higgins, and Zach is able to make the save. Zach Higgins, 6'1", 225-pounder out of Cortese, Ontario, a left-hander in Buffalo last season. Spent 3 years as the Swarm's primary or part-time keeper. Left Georgia in 16 when Mike Poulin arrived, and he's had a really, really fine season. We'll get to his numbers in greater depth coming up here in a few moments.
Great job by Tarbell. Get that stick up, deflect the pass. Force Philadelphia to restart their offense.
Lost balance. Ball ended up on the stick of Vittorelli, and Corey Vittorelli not able to get it to the back of the net.
Yeah, great save by Poulin, and then Vittorelli with the crease violation.
This is Zach Miller working around to the left side. That was Loud Thompson. Shot knocked away by Higgins, and the loose ball picked up by Philadelphia. This team full of loose ball hawks. Talking about Philadelphia, especially, of course, Trevor Baptiste, who's #1 in the league in loose balls. A lot of those coming off the face-off circle, of course. Baptiste 141 on the year.
And the interesting part about Trevor Baptiste, he wins face-off at an above 70% clip. So when he's not winning, he's winning those free balls that are going out there when he doesn't win them clean. That's huge for Philadelphia in gaining possession. But in a contest like this, the Swarm are going to trust their defense and be able to stop them if they don't win in the face-off circle. And I think for the Swarm, coming off that 11-7 victory last night, and it was a little bit of a lead late in the contest. They were able to stretch it out, able to relax a little bit. Philadelphia had to keep it at an accelerated tempo and pace throughout the whole contest just to try to keep even and get back in the contest late. So advantage early for the Swarm to kind of push tempo a little bit and see how tired Philadelphia's legs are.
Georgia just 2 and 3 at home so far this year. They've struggled at times, but they've lost a couple of really 3 Philadelphia's mark on the road so far this year. Zed Williams gives off to Shane Jackson. Shane back off to Miller, his rookie season, coming over from San Diego in the offseason. Loud Thompson left side of the floor, front line, tries to give back to, is that Zed or is that Hall?
Zed
Zed.
Williams.
Ball in the air and headed out. We'll head back the other way. So a little bit of a test for Zach Higgins here early. Swarm will keep it. Zach Higgins, #1 in the league in minutes at 741. 7-5 record he's posted. Between the pipes for Philadelphia, #4 in the league in goals against average at 932, 9.32. And he's #4 in the league in save percentage as well, nearly 82%.
Swarm get to keep possession. The shot clock was about to expire and that ball out of play. Now it ultimately goes back to Philadelphia, but the Swarm able to steal a possession there, looking to capitalize.
Again, if you're just tuning in, shot clock malfunction here in the building. We got folks scrambling all over the place to get it fixed here.
And it's tough for the Swarm players. That's the shot clock that's off is in a direction that they look. There is a scoreboard above the arena floor that they can look up, but that you have to crane your neck all the way up to go get an idea. It'd be a lot of communication from the bench area of them yelling how much time is left on the shot clock.
Brett Hickey, near side of your screen, tests Mike Poulin. Poulin will kick it off with his left bicep. Mike Poulin's also been tested a little bit here early. We'll dive into Mike's numbers next time Philly makes a trip to the left side of the floor. Miller wanting with everything he has to shoot the ball. Hasn't yet. Waiting for the right shot. Instead, he passed it over to Randy Stotts. And Randy does what he's done so well throughout his career. For Randy Stotts, 5th in the league in points. The 6'2", 200-pounder has just notched his 18th goal of the 1920 campaign.
And we talked about physicality in the pregame. Look at that. Getting the space he needed from Anthony Jokum. Just stepping in, bouncing off, creating a shot, and just ripping it right past Zach Higgins.
So Miller the assist, Stotts the goal. Last year had 37 goals and 59 assists. And of course, entering this ball game, Randy Stotts, number 2 in the league in assists at 45, number 2 in the league in power play assists with 15. And again, he's just collected his 19th goal of the season. 1-0 Georgia.
And going back to that goal, the fluidity in which the Swarm are playing with early in this contest. Stotts created his own space by bouncing off of Anthony Jokum, but Zed Williams came in there and he also sealed out. Those guys are in unison early in this contest.
Well, no matter who wins this one tonight, the East standings will stay the way they are, but it's a big one nonetheless. 1-0. Time now to take a look around the National Lacrosse League for weekend number 15 in the league. There you see the 2 ball games last night involving these 2 teams. A massive win for New England. Saskatchewan getting a big win, solidifying perhaps a number 2 seed, but certainly a number 3 seed. San Diego with a big win, 19-6 over Rochester. Those are games from last night. Here's a little scoring update for you. I'll give it to you live without the graphic here. 9-7 Calgary leads Toronto. 9-7 Calgary leads Toronto, and Buffalo and Halifax. How big is that matchup? 8-8 right now between Buffalo and Halifax.
First, second, and third in the North Division will be decided between those 2 contests.
Matter of fact, I'll beg your forgiveness on forgetting which it is. I'll have that number here for you in just a moment, but one of either Toronto or Buffalo plays the other 2 big guys in that division back-to-back weeks. So we're going to learn a lot about the North Division coming up over, well, I guess the next 7 days or so.
Great job at Leo Storos to fill the passing lane from Kevin Crowley.
Rambo going right in on top of Poulin. Tries to go for the bounce shot in the 5-hole, cannot connect. It's also a shot clock violation. And so slowly we'll head back the other way.
Swarm settling and comfortably, being very methodical with their looks and opportunity.
We're 6 minutes in, and it's 1-0 Stotts. Instead gonna wrap around. Had a chance at the quick shot, but I like that decision, Brandon.
Yeah, the Swarm, they know that time is on their side. The physical nature of last night's contest for Philadelphia, they can't keep it up for 4 quarters, so they're just gonna wait for the opportunities to be physical. And sometimes leaning on somebody for the whole contest, they can get used to it. But if you take your opportunity and then apply the physical nature, then back off, it wears them down a little bit faster.
Pass comes right down in front, and that's Kyle Matisse who cannot connect. Kyle Matisse, one of the great transition players in the league, 12 goals and 24 assists. In fact, leading all transition or D-men, among the leaders that is, in points accrued, Kyle Matisse. Former Georgia Swarm player. Higgins comes up with a big save. It's still rolling around loose down there in front of the Harris Cherokee Casino sign, and it's picked up by the Wings, and they'll push.
Yeah, the Wings are going to take every opportunity in the transition game. They're so smooth, creating opportunities there. And you see that little giddy-up step by Josh Courier. But a great job of closing out by the Swarm, and that was Jason Noble, just stepping right into the passing lane. So many players get beat on that little curl hop.
Courier rips one off the post. Courier, a finalist for the 2018 Rookie of the Year. Here's Crowley. Back off to Courier.
And Courier, only 2 assists last night. He has very good skill when it comes to creating scoring opportunities, but last night called more of an assist game for him.
Well, you see the behind the back pass there, kind of wrapped it around his head. Gave it off to Crowley. Kevin will come up empty, and here come the Swarm once more.
And Noble did a great job of getting in the body of Crowley, not giving him any opportunity to get that shot off.
Brian Noble makes such a difference, doesn't he? When he's back in the lineup after he missed a month worth of play. because he can do a little bit of everything, right? Goal! Zed Williams checks in, gets over the front line, receives a pass, and he's instant offense.
That was one of those no, yes type of play from Coach Cuomo. Take a look. Zed was actually late coming off the bench. Zach gives it over to Zed. 2 steps and a howitzer past Zach Higgins.
I see what you did there, the World War II reference.
Yeah.
Nice. Very nice.
Topical and timely, just like Zed Williams on that goal.
Zed Williams, the third-year player, number 4 overall selection back in 2017. The New York native with his 18th goal of the season to go along with 12 assists. 2-0 Georgia, 6:52 mark of the first quarter. Violation on the X. Georgia will have possession freely to set up their offense. Once again, in the half court. Oh, right down in front. Stotts got kind of caught in between. Good physicality by Philadelphia right down there in front to kind of alter his motion.
Yeah, keep him guessing what you're going to do.
Patton.
Patton had to fight his way out just to set up the offense. Great job by Jordan Hall to keep that pressure on.
I think Liam would have fought his way out of it even if he didn't have to. That dude loves some contact, doesn't he? Matisse trying to give it off to a teammate, a bit of an errant pass. Yes, indeed, that was Hickey, his intended receiver. Oh, and now Hickey has knocked one loose. He scooped it up for the moment, but then a great defensive play to knock it out of his cradle, and we're all the way back down to the other end. Streaking in is Wiedemann! Adam Wiedemann! You know, Adam Wiedemann had 298 points in his collegiate days. He's a defender that can score. That's his 4th of the year.
Yeah, and you know, 5 out of 4 people are not very good at math. And I think I know the math is when 0 close out, you have a greater opportunity to score, and that's what Adam Wiedemann did. He came right out, clear. Nobody marked Wiedemann as he attacked in and just got a clear look on Zach Higgins. And poor Zach Higgins, it's really tough to stop those shots when a player's coming full speed, and that's what Adam Wiedemann was doing.
Always a bad sign for opponents when Georgia scores early and often. Now, I say that, you roll your eyes at home and you say, well, no kidding, it's a bad sign when any opponent does that against your team. But what I mean by that is Georgia is such a great second quarter team this year, perhaps the best in the league. 43-24, Georgia outscores their opponents in the second quarter. With 5:33 remaining in the opening frame, they lead 4-0.
A little touch and go, give and go from Randy Stotts to Brian Cole. And Brian Cole, 2 goals last night in New York. Hot hand travels. And again, nothing Zach Higgins can do on that. That is just better offense beating goaltending there.
Brian Cole collects his 8th goal of the 2019-2020 season to go along with 8 assists as well. So now if you're Philadelphia, back to my previous point, you're down 4-0 with 5 minutes remaining in the opening frame. And you know the odds are stacked against you because Georgia's been such a great first half team this year. We haven't even gotten to the second quarter where Georgia might be the best club in the league in the second frame.
Yeah, and if you're Philadelphia, I'm not saying the book has been written, but for this season, Georgia has had lapses in defense, so you file that away for Paul Day that maybe you can catch him in a defensive lapse for a period of time and get back in this contest. But if you're Philadelphia, also, you know, you can't go with the same tempo and energy that you went with last night against New England for a full contest because it's just, humans aren't built that way.
And often, we have noticed over the last few years, Georgia will get a big lead in a ball game, and that's when their defense will start to falter. Well, right now it's a 4-0 game at 4:58 of the first quarter. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on BR Live.
Welcome back, where the Swarm have an early 4-0 lead over the Wings. Coach, your guys were shooting a bit off the mark early on, but the last few have been dead on. What improved on that end for your guys?
I think early on we were just trying to, try to take the perfect shot. Sometimes, we really emphasize just getting the ball on net, and it doesn't have to be 100 miles an hour too. Just got to be on net, and I think once we did that, we had some good success.
Thanks, Coach. Guys.
Want joining us as well. Also want to take this opportunity to thank all of you joining us in the Metro Atlanta area on the radio on the SportsX, 1230 AM, 106.3 FM. Swarm in general will have, across the board with their main shooters, their main scorers, a pretty good shooting percentage. Part of the reason that Coach Cuomo, and when we talk to him, he's a very plainly spoken man out in front. Oh, wow. Brandon, walk us through this penalty.
As we went to the media timeout, Jordan McIntosh was hit with a 2-minute minor for roughing. Take a look at the captain, McIntosh, in the penalty box.
I'll beg your pardon for not mentioning it earlier. They snuck it underneath me. No announcement here in the building. Short-handed Philadelphia. Oh, great pass. Can't get the shot off in traffic. As you would imagine, Swarm bunched in with an extra man.
If you're Philly, this is where you have to get back in this contest with a man up.
Hickey goes underneath. Save made by Mike with his right side. Oh, a pass is stolen by Crowley. Crowley now going to lose the handle.
And all this is just wasting away their power play opportunity, fighting in the midfield. Not a very productive man-up advantage for Philadelphia. The Swarm wasted about 30 seconds at the start of it, then 15 here with them fighting for the ball. Now possession turn back to the Swarm with an odd man rush.
Shorty opportunity. Georgia's been so good short-handed this year, have they not?
Yeah, they're just the skill, and sometimes it's not even in getting goals. It's creating that opportunity just to waste a full 30, and they'll be able to run out just about. It'll be about a second different in between the shot clock and the penalty expiring. So the Swarm, great penalty kill here.
Shot clocks are back, by the way, inside the building. Save is made, penalty is over. Georgia back now to full strength. Philadelphia will find their power play number slip a little bit. 45%, 10th in the power play in the league. That number will drop just a tad bit. Georgia continues to do so well on the penalty kill this year. 52%.
Great tandem defense by the Swarm there. You just got to love the defensive effort in this first quarter. With 2:23 left to go that the Swarm are giving out. Now they're getting real physical down low. A couple of Swarm players go down. Looks like Zed loses his helmet.
Push that aside, Jordan.
Swarm will have it back. One of the biggest weekends in the league this year.
Let's go.
Philadelphia playing New England last night. Georgia and Philadelphia getting together tonight. And then don't forget the other two big ball games in the North. Give you a scoring update here in just a moment.
Philadelphia, number 29, a 2-minute minor, slashing.
Ian Lord just got baited into a slash against, I believe that was Leo Sturos or Jordan McIntosh. Hard to see with the number of Swarm players down there, but they were going back and forth. May have been Zed Williams, and then Ian Lord just took a slashing opportunity, a little bit of a late shot as the play was breaking up, and ref always sees not the first one, sometimes not even the second one, but the last one.
So now Georgia will be a man up. Halifax defeated Buffalo, Brandon. How about that? Pass is intercepted. Send ahead, Shane Jackson. Point blank range. Number 29 for Shane Jackson, currently third in the league in points scored. Third in the league in goals scored. This is number 29. What a gorgeous decision by Lyle Thompson.
Yeah, Lyle Thompson putting that stick up, getting that elevation, and then passing it up ahead. Great foresight to get his head around and get it on the stick of Shane Jackson. Shane Jackson, one move as we look 5-hole on Higgins. And right in your face comes that shot from Shane Jackson.
So now 5-0. The power play goal for Georgia. Again, Brandon, I want to give you that score. I want to get your thoughts on it. Halifax has won their ball game today. Halifax defeats Buffalo. 11-9 is the final. Buffalo falls to 7-4 on the year. Halifax to 8-4. Incomplete pass. I mean, that's simply what that was. I gotta work in the Football Reference. Syndergaard.
Blaze Warden just looked before he called, and that's just as simple as it was. He was trying to look, see what opportunity. He knew it was going to have to be a quick move on Mike Poole and took his eyes off the ball, and the ball took his eyes off the stick.
Shane decided not to take the pass, or the shot. Instead, the pass over to Randy Stotts. Stotts will come up empty. So, again, Buffalo falls to Halifax. Halifax a win north of Buffalo. And right now, Toronto, as we mentioned, is taking on Calgary. Ball game that Calgary needs in the worst way. And the Roughnecks 11-7 on Toronto. So if Calgary wins that ball game, well, you talk about being bunched up in the North Division, man alive.
And the thing is, the only way to guarantee yourself a home playoff game is to win your division.
That's right.
And that's what these teams in the North are fighting. They're all right tucked in under a blanket together. So you want to be that 1 seed to host. And then if you're a 2 seed, you're have an opportunity to host. But then if you're that 3 seed, there's no guarantee you even get in. And that's a tough spot to be in that North. There's no separation between the top 3 teams. So it may come down to head-to-head, and that's a critical win for Halifax.
Final 15 seconds of the opening quarter
Pulled
here in Metro Atlanta.
Zach Higgins to get that extra attacker on. You're going to have to be very deliberate. The Swarm almost scored on a buzzer beater yesterday.
Poulin off to his left. He'll scoop up the loose ball. Still got time, and now time will run out. Well, Georgia has come out like a house on fire offensively. We'll see if Philadelphia can adjust. You're going to get a look at all 5 Georgia goals as we take you to break. 5-0. Swarm lead Wings. This is the National Lacrosse League, and you're watching it on BR Live. Back inside the Infinite Energy Arena, 5-0. The Georgia Swarm out in front. Fans, don't forget, the Georgia Swarm's next home game is Friday, March 27th. It's Fan Appreciation Night. The Swarm will recognize legions of loyal fans. There'll be contests, giveaways, and other surprises. For more details, visit georgiaswarm.com/theme nights. So, a surprising development in the first quarter of this East Division rivalry between the Georgia Swarm and the Philadelphia Wings. Boy, if you're a Wings fan, you're going to loathe the Georgia Swarm if this score holds throughout the rest of this ball game. And so hard to win all 3 matchups against a team in the modern era of the National Lacrosse League. Georgia, of course, has won both matchups this year with the Wings, 13-11 final and a 12-11 final. This, of course, as I mentioned, quite obviously the 3rd meeting of the year between the 2 teams. On January 31st at Wells Fargo Center, Swarm landed a 12-11 victory. Georgia held leads of 8-4, 9-5. Philly did rally, eventually tied the game at 10-10 with 6 minutes remaining. And then Randy Stotts took over, scored twice in the final 4 minutes. Swarm held on to win 12-11. Georgia won Philly's season opener here in Metro Atlanta, 13-11. Again, it's a big matchup for playoff seeding. Georgia owns the tiebreaker already. Both teams sitting on 7 wins. Philadelphia already with 2 more losses. If you're wondering, the schedule sort of imbalanced here in this league. You got clubs that have played 13 games and some that have played 10. Shot on Higgins, and he goes off to his left and makes the save, knocking the pipes astray.
Full sprout for Zach Higgins.
Mike Poole had been good, so is his defense, especially. Remember, Georgia #1 in the league, if you didn't catch this earlier. #1 in the league in allowing the fewest shots defensively per ball game. Lyle Thompson, bottom side of your screen, left side of the floor. He'll give off to Stotts. Randy trying to work around behind Bomberry. He'll now come in on Higgins, try to surprise him. It'll ricochet off the right shoulder pad of Higgins. Go for a save officially, although I'm not so sure he even saw it. The Syndergaard, work around, whip around a defender. That one will not find a home Kevin Crowley. Crowley 4th in the National Lacrosse League in points, 3rd in shot total. Came to Philadelphia last year. His second tour of duty for a Philadelphia franchise. Now Georgia has it back. Lyle at the top, off to Zed. Zed with a spin move. Gets sealed out once more. Now give off. Back to Zed. And a whistle blows play dead.
They get a legal screen from behind. Philadelphia with a quick restart.
And the shot on Poulin. How did he make that save 5-hole? Mike Poulin so far this year, 8th in the league in goals against, but a healthy number, 9.97. Oh my! Mike, we'll get back to you in a moment. Randy Stotts comes streaking in, receives a dandy of a pass, and one-times it right into the back of the net. Can you believe this? 6-0 Georgia.
You talk to Tabitha Turner pregame, and you get some great mojo. Look at Randy Stotts just firing it past Zach Higgins, and for Higgins, that's not one he normally lets by. Great netminder, just got beat. There's no other way to put it. Just take a look at the overhead. He drops down to protect low short. Randy Stotts pinpoint accuracy, going above the shoulder, hitting the elbow.
How about the assist for Kaysen Tarbell, by the way, Brandon? Love that for the rookie, number overall selection, 11 overall selection this year in the draft. Saved by Mike Poulin at point-blank range. Stotts has scored for the second time this evening. That's number 20 on the year for Randy. Georgia coming right back down at it. This is McIntosh. He was in the crease.
Great move by McIntosh. Made the Philadelphia defense think he was going to curl it back to wait for the offense. Got the angle and turned it up.
Oh, bad stop, bad pass. A bad restart and bad pass for Philadelphia, and Georgia's got it right back.
I think that's a textbook definition of what not to do when you're trying to play the advantage.
3 minutes into the second quarter. Lyle Thompson. Oh, Shane Jackson off to Randy Stotts. Randy feeling himself right now. He'll come up empty that time. And the loose ball is picked up by Jordan Hall.
Had the shot that he wanted, had the angle. Zach Higgins was just able to throw a shoulder into it to knock that one wide. I believe they call that a parry. Parry it away.
Shane Jackson denied by Higgins' left shin pad. Stays 6-0. Philadelphia, to the surprise of many. A lot of people said, well, we believe Philly's going to kind of reverse back to the mean. What's the phrase?
Regression to the mean.
Regression to the mean. Thank you. I lost it there for a moment. Had it. I was sitting on it, and then once I went to say it, I couldn't find it anymore. But you're right. That's it. A regression to the mean. And they have, but I don't know that any of us anticipated them losing 3 in a row, 4 of 6, and now sitting at 7-6 on the year, and barring a tremendous rally tonight, which of course they could absolutely do. It's only 6-0. I'd be surprised to see this team at 7-7.
Well, what is kind of shocking to me is their second leading scorer, Matt Rambo. He's relatively silent in his game. I don't think we've said his name once. He had one possession his last Philadelphia offensive set, but outside of that, just the ball has worked through him and not in a good way. Just you need Matt Rambo to put points up. You need Matt Rambo to be more involved with this offense, and it's just not flowing for them right now. And that's why you're seeing, you know, the lacking of goals, the void of the number on the scoreboard for them. Zach Higgins stopped 39 shots last night. Gave up 9 goals. Most times you win those games. It's not going Philadelphia's way as of late offensively.
Happens in this league, doesn't it? Goal, Philadelphia. There it is. And the seal is broken for the Wings. It's Blaze Reardon.
Yeah, Reardon, great job creating that opportunity. A little spin cycle move on Chad Tutton. Put his thing down, flipped it and reversed it, and got it right by Mike Poulin.
Reardon's now to double digits on the year, 10 goals, 25 assists. Leads their team in shorthanded assists. Good loose ball man as well with 55 on the campaign. And Philadelphia is drawn back to within 5 at the 9:40 mark, 9:49 mark to be precise, of this second quarter, 6-1 Georgia.
I think I may be the first NLL broadcaster working in the CLA.
Won't be the last time that you work in this event. Shot on Poulin, rolling around behind it. Can he keep it out of the pipes? Indeed. Oh, baby, that ball went through his legs, rolled right on the line, and he was able to swat it away at the very last moment. So Georgia will keep their 5-goal lead. To the break we go. This is the National Lacrosse League on VR Live.
Welcome back where the Swarm lead the Wings 6-1. Coach, your guys were held scoreless after a quarter and a half of action. What do you want to see improve on the offensive end?
We're really concerned about the defense, to be honest with you, but we've actually had some pretty good opportunities. Poulin's played well. We've just got to change our shot selection a little bit. We want to play a little faster and get underneath, maybe not as we scored on the last one, which will open up the middle a little more for us.
Thanks, Coach. Guys.
Paul Day, of course, with Tabitha Turner. Thanks, Tabitha. Great job. Let's get a last look at that last play right before. Oh, boy. So close. And Philadelphia's come close to scoring in this ball game. Mike has been good. But I think I'm a little more prone to put the onus and the credit just a little bit more on Georgia's defense. They've done a great job. You heard Coach Day talking about shot selection. Part of the reason for that, Georgia has forced Philadelphia into settling for not the most quality of shots.
Yeah, great job of switching and trapping from the Georgia defense, and they're making Philadelphia take poor shots. I think that shot selection, you're absolutely right, is created by Georgia's defense in front of Mike Poulin. So, you know, Paul Day is right on. It's been poor shot selection.
Oh, my!
And good ones from the Georgia Swarm.
Shane Jackson. Jacko, they call him in the halls and in the locker room. Jacko's done it again. Walk us through it, Brandon.
You know, for Jackson, take a look up here. If you're watching on BR Live, the feed from Randy Stotts. He takes the ball up high and immediately gets it down low. That's the key. You change the eye level, and by the time Ryan Higgins adjusts to the angle that Shane Jackson drops his stick down, the ball is already low. So by the time his eyes adjust to where Shane Jackson catches the ball to where he releases, and his body makes that adjustment down there, the ball's already through 5-hole and in the back of the net.
2-2 now for Randy Stotts, by the way, with 2 goals and 2 assists. Shane Jackson now with 2 goals on the night, and he is up to 30 on the season. 30 goals on the year for Shane Jackson. He's one away from yet another hat trick this year. Remember that in the first 7 games of the year, Jackson had hat tricks in each of the first 7. Just a breakout year for Shane Jackson.
Yeah, phenomenal.
Oh, baby.
And a phenomenal shot there.
Kyle Matisse.
By Matisse, just fighting through the body.
Kyle will get a little bit of booze. Respectful booze for Matisse. Look at that great body work. I'll let you break it down here in just a moment. Remember, Kyle, a former Georgia Swarm player. Those some respectful booze.
Yeah, the little curl hop draws Wiedemann into the contact, and you have so much more of an advantage if you are the one welcoming in the contact, and he was able to position his body. As soon as Wiedemann stepped up to create the contact, it actually created what he wanted to do and created that passing lane, that shooting lane for Kyle Matisse, and he was able to play that perfectly. That's a great job of using your offense to dictate what the defense does and maximizing on that opportunity.
Matisse had a huge playoff run back in 2017 as a member of the Swarm when they won the title. Had 13 points. Had some massive plays too. The points obviously are what they are, but he had some big moments, some clutch goals. Played 5 seasons for the Swarm, so he was a favorite. Feels like he's been gone forever, by the way. He just left 2 years ago. So the 8-minute mark coming up here in the second quarter. Georgia has it back. They're up 7-2 after the goal by Matisse, who, by the way, is number 1 in the league in transition and defensive points. Men in those positions. That goal for Matisse is 13th of the campaign. Philly's got it back, down by 5.
Interesting to see how they decide to push as we are halfway through the second quarter. What can they close out this half with? That's going to dictate exactly how they play. We're going to get it, looks like an illegal screen up high, and the physicality ramps up again as Corey Vitarelli now gets involved. But if they're able to close down this gap a little bit, changes everything Paul Day says in the locker room. If this gap stays relatively at 5,
then the panic meter starts going up in how you play. Start selling out defensively to try to get forward in the transition game, and that generally leads to more goals allowed because you're poor in getting back in the defensive set.
Hall lost the handle, scooped it up, tried a cross-floor pass. It was tipped and knocked out of play. Swarm will have it back.
We saw briefly the contact of Vidarelli against Krepensek.
By the way, Brendan Bomberry now has checked in over the last few possessions offensively, going to get his first shot at it. Ball rolls right out to Shane Jackson. He'll let it go. They'll careen out to Zach Miller. Bomberry on offensively. And they've been using now Cole. They pulled him out. Basically, Bomberry and Cole switch spots. Cole in transition and defense. Bomberry now on the offensive side.
Yeah, and with Miles Thompson being a healthy scratch, it gives you a chance to get creative in some of these combinations and see what you can go to later in the season.
Miller comes up empty. It's in the air, and it's taken away by Philadelphia. The other thing it does when you get Bomberry on the offensive side, he's a big kid. He's physical. He can eliminate some of those screens if need be. 6'2", 185-pounder. Or some of the defensive switches, I beg your pardon.
And create some tough picks.
Yep, that's where I was trying to go with it. A bounce shot. It gets past Poulin into the back of the net. And it's a tally for Blaze Reardon. Reardon, number 11 on the year now, as he has 2 tallies in the affair.
Yeah, this goal was created up here by Matt Rambo. Take a look at Reardon, number 10. He's roaming free now. Fakes the down screen, and that creates the opportunity as it looks like Leo Storos goes up to Phil Lane. Reardon just filled that gap there. That's great movement without the ball from the Fairport, New York native. Left Jordan McIntosh on an island, unable to close out, because if McIntosh steps up, there's going to be a Phil guy coming across that Reardon can drop it off to and get a quick look in front of Poulin's face. So that's a total option play from Reardon. Once he creates that opportunity and he gets in that space, he has the freedom to create.
Baptiste won the face-off with Connor Sellers. After losing possession, he scoops it back up. Give off to Reardon, who will start the workaround. Oh, point blank. Poulin makes the save, right side. Adam Weedman picks up the loose ball, and he's streaking down the floor. Weedman not afraid to try to get something going himself offensively. If he finds that he can push the pace instead, the offense will switch out.
And off that face-off all day, going very simplistic. The guys on the field for the face-off are the ones that are going to begin that offensive set. And that's why you saw Trevor Baptiste on the field there, not immediately getting off to try to get on an extra attacker. He's going to be that guy off of those face-offs that go and contribute.
Here's Matt Rambo. Matt 11th in the league in points. Again, we've got 5 out of the top 11 point scores in this league in this ball game. Rambo comes up empty once more. What's that, 3 shots, I think, for Rambo in the affair? And nothing doing. No points for Matt in this ball. I beg your pardon. Actually, now they've updated the scoreboard here just a moment ago. Matt Rambo with 1 point, got an assist in the affair, but no goals. As he starts to get going tonight, Philadelphia's offense will as well, you would imagine. Pick up and push.
It's gut check time for the Wings. They're going to dig down deep and try to close this half out with every bit of energy they have to close up this gap and then refresh in the locker room.
Right side of the floor. Rambo trying to get away from his man. Got a little bit of a check. Put a shot on, Poulin, nothing doing. Rolling around down there and picked up by Brett Hickey.
Great job by Brian Cole to force the ball out of Hickey's stick. They're still going back at it as
talking about it, aren't they?
They leave the floor.
Santa spin. Williams already with 2 goals, works it around. Or 1 goal in the affair.
Great high screen from Lyle.
Bounce shot on top of Higgins. Nothing doing. Taken out of midair. Push ahead. Shot on Poulin. Save with the stick.
Great job of Mike Poulin.
as if he knew where he was going exactly. That's
Well, he's faced that guy a couple of times.
knowing your opponent, knowing where he likes to go. Poulin was late making that move, very casual, because he didn't want to give away I know where you're going, I want you to take that shot.
That was Kyle Matisse. Oh, behind the back shot for Randy Stotts. Would have been on the weekly highlight reel at NLL Twitter feed, Facebook feed, all over the place, and he netted that one. All the way down to 2:50, second quarter, here at the Infinite Energy Arena. Harrah's Cherokee Casino floor. Coming to you live on BR Live, on digital. The Dickey Broadcasting family of stations on the radio in Metro Atlanta. The Sports X, 106.3 FM, 12:30 a.m.
Great body by Matt Rambo. Make sure Philadelphia kept possession, creating that second chance opportunity.
7-3 game, Georgia out in front. Once led 6-0.
Now it's 7-4.
Oh, baby.
High shot, was able to beat Mike Poulin past the ear. Josh Courier.
Well, you knew they were going to make their run. Courier was a finalist for the 2018 Rookie of the Year award. He's just netted number 16 the campaign.
Kept it low, kept it out of the eyesight of Mike Poulin. See how low he's keeping it. Takes the ball away from Poulin's line of sight. The high screen comes in from Kevin Crowley. By the time Mike Poulin's able to adjust to Crowley closing out on the defense, the ball is ripping past his earlobe.
Courier's third shot of the night. First tally, obviously goal-wise, as I mentioned a moment ago, no assists as well. Philadelphia with only 15 shots on goal in this ball game, the official number. Number a bit surprising for me. 22 shots on goal for Georgia.
Georgia's largest lead has been cut in half. If you're Philadelphia, you have to feel really good about that, but also if you're the Swarm, having a 3-goal lead is something you should be cheerful about. I wonder how well they will feel about this at halftime, as we have two guys that really want to fight,
I got you
really
both
want to
for
fight
two.
this moment.
Because you gave him the first shot, and he's got the
That's the feeling that
He has the first two. Because you came back and then you grilled him. You cross-checked. You slashed
They're
him.
going to see each other. Frustration's been mounting all season. These guys are tired of seeing each other.
Philadelphia on a run, now a 7-4 ball game, late second quarter. This is the National Lacrosse League on BR Live. Back on BR Live in a 3-goal game, Friday, March 27th, Fan Appreciation Night. You want an affordable night out with the family? How about this? 4 Swarm tickets, 4 hot dogs, a couple of beers, and 2 sodas for under $100. Taxes and fees included, of course. Throw in free parking. There's no better value in pro sports. Visit georgiaswarm.com/March Madness Family to choose your seats. So, we had some penalties called there at the break. Philadelphia on the power play to start. Out of the break, Brandon, walk us through it.
Yeah, what it results to is 2 matching minors for roughing, as Brett Hickey and Chad Tutton get dead ball fouls that will offset, and then Chad Tutton will pick up another 2-minute minor for, I picked up what the referee said was a legal contact to a head or headbutting 2-minute minor. So what it boils down to is a 5-4 man-up advantage for Philadelphia, but Tutton and Hickey will be the 2 players without.
Shot right on top of Poulin. He's made 2 saves during this power play at point-blank range. Fans, don't forget, coming up at the half, NLL at the half to be precise. Mark Zinno and Drew Petkoff have highlights and analysis of the first half and a look around the league. All that and more coming up at the half. Well, this is turning into quite the run for Philadelphia. Kyle Matisse has done it again. 7-5 ball game now.
Yeah, under a minute to go with that man-up advantage. Philadelphia doing what they couldn't do the first time they had an advantage, and that's get that power play opportunity. A very good series of events, a creation from Reardon to Matisse. And Matisse fakes the back pass and then comes through right across unmarked. Georgia playing that little box defense with a man down, and Matisse was able to slice through it and get that shot on Poulin. So now they will level back up at 5, but still both teams will be without. Hickey, and Tutton.
4 unanswered for Philadelphia. Right down on top of Poulin. He's able to make the save. Final 39 seconds. Oh, what a beautiful pass, but the very last moment, Randy Stotts decided to curl on out, away from the crease, wait for his teammates to join him offensively. 12 on the shot clock. Stotts whirling around. 20 on the game clock. Too much contact down in front.
Looks like we're going to get a slash
on Shane Jackson.
It's going to be a painful way to start the third quarter.
Georgia penalty, 2-minute slashing.
Take a look down here. See if we can see the slash. And I guess it took place down low between Liam Patton and Shane Jackson. And Tutton and Shane Jackson going over what got him in timeout.
Once a 6-0 Georgia lead in this ball game. Remember, this is a ball game with major East Division implications, playoff implications.
And now it's going to be 6-4 because they will pull Zach Higgins here as the shot clock will be off with the next possession. So now you have to worry about 2 extra men on the floor if you're the Georgia Swarm. So Philadelphia will have a great opportunity to get within 1. And I think if you're Paul Day, you're already thinking net win. But if you can get this down to 1, given how this game started, you get a little March Christmas gift.
3 division winners have the top 3 seeds in the postseason. Each second-place team in each division makes the postseason. Seeded 4 through 6, no matter what your record may be. And then the next 2 best teams will get the 7 and 8 seeds. Both of these teams not just trying to get to the number 2 spot in the East, but still have a chance to win this division. Final 10. A man up, make it 2, and make it a goal for Philadelphia. Frustration now starting to show. Actually, Higgins was back between the pipes. I stand corrected, but frustration showing for Georgia right here at the end of this second quarter. It is 7-6.
Yeah, just passing across the defense, getting those guys to move. Vitarelli with a great no-look. That held the defense long enough. You see with 2 hands up, Jason Noble was to be able to watch on this replay, a little pump fake, that hesitation froze Noble and it froze Mike Poulin. Then the quick return feed across the formation. And that's how Philly was able to close within 1 with 8.3 left to go in this first half.
That's a blown defensive assignment, though, isn't it, Brandon?
It's tough when you're a man down right there. You're basically playing space and trying to close out there. And then that's all Vitarelli wanted to do with that little pump fake.
Snuck in behind him.
That little hesitation is just create freeze for everybody and then let a man go behind him.
So 5 consecutive goals for Philadelphia, down 6-0 and 7-1. 5 consecutive goals for Philadelphia to close the first half. Tabitha Turner is down on the floor. She's found Brian Cole. I'd love to see what Brian's going to say about this. Tabitha.
Brian, the Swarm started the game 5-0. Now you're going into the half up by 1, should I say. What worked well in that first half and what needs to change in the second?
Yeah, I think we kind of stuck to our shooting plan. We got to Higgins early. Defensively, I think we need to just tighten up a bit. 2 skip passes in a row there. We got to pick a couple of those off, but we'll regroup here, watch a couple clips and film, and get back at it.
Thanks, Brian. Good luck in the second. Guys.
All right, fans, don't forget, coming up on NLL at the half, Mark Zinno and Drew Petkoff have highlights and analysis of the first half and a look around the National Lacrosse League. All that and a whole lot more coming up at the half. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on BR Live.
Back at halftime here at the Infinite Energy Arena, the Swarm hanging on to a 7-6 lead over the Philadelphia Wings in what was a very back and forth first 30 minutes of lacrosse, Drew. And we say it all the time that lacrosse is a game of runs, and we'll look at it here as the Swarm opened up on a 6-goal run to start the game. scored by 6 different players. You see Randy Stotts. Here's Zed Williams with a high, hard laser that finds the back of the net. And then we get defensemen involved, Adam Wiedemann. And some more transition goals here by the Swarm as Randy Stotts feeds Brian Cole. And you see how the Swarm got things going, but Philadelphia answered and ended the second half, or the first half rather, the second quarter, as Jackson gets that goal right there from Thompson on a 6-goal run of their own. And statistically, you know, this is a game right now that's very, very tight, and the score reflects that. It's just both quarters, one belonged to the Swarm and one belonged to the Wings. So we'll have more stats and highlights coming up next here at halftime. You're watching Georgia Swarm Lacrosse on CW 69.
Welcome back to the CW 69 here at the Infinite Energy Arena, where the Swarm lead Philadelphia 7-6 at the half. We're going to take a look around the league at last night's games to start us off, where New England, again, beat Philadelphia in a very pivotal East Division matchup. New England, Philadelphia, Georgia, and New York all played last night, all battling for that East Division title. Georgia came out on top over New York with a big fourth quarter, and then elsewhere around the league, we see Vancouver losing to Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan is the leader in the Western Division as they take that 17-7 win over the Warriors. And then San Diego over Rochester, 19-6. That puts San Diego firmly in second place in that Western Division. Now we're going to take a look at some of the games today. We see Buffalo and Halifax in a battle of the North. Halifax beats Buffalo 11-9 in a very close game. And then we see Calgary and Toronto doing battle right now. Calgary on top, 12-10. Toronto is one of the other northern teams, Calgary in the Western Division. So that matchup will be very pivotal for Toronto as they're looking to maintain pace with Buffalo and Halifax. Now later tonight we have Rochester and Colorado facing off at 7 p.m. Eastern. So that'll be a great one to tune into. Again, the score here is 7-6, Swarm over Philadelphia. You're watching it on the CW 69.
Yep.
The NLL on BR Live is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com to see how much you could save today. Back inside the Infinite Energy Arena here, the building affectionately known as Steam City. Now a 7-6 ball game. Philadelphia, once down 6-0, goes on a 5-0 run to close to 7-6 here in Metro Atlanta. Now time for a look at the first half stats presented by BetMGM.
Yeah, take a look at that bottom line. Philadelphia scoring the last 6 goals after trailing 7-6, 7-0, and then
6-0.
6-0, and
yes,
able
sir.
to get that run on to close out the half and to be down within 1, taking more shots on goals. What they wanted to do coming into this contest, and if we ended the first quarter and said Philly would only be down 1, we were wondering what happened. It's really just been Philly working their offense, and Coach Paul Day was right on point. He said he found some things when they scored that first goal, and they have.
We knew it would come around. We'll give you some individual statistics here in just a few moments. Swarm, of course, coming into this ball game after a win last night against New York. Lyle Thompson had himself quite the night. 2 goals, 5 assists in the 11-7 win as they pulled away, and he had some fans there last night.
Yeah, how about that young man sporting the Lyle Thompson jersey, and Lyle didn't disappoint last night with 2 goals and 5 assists versus the Riptide, and then that followed up tonight. Only 1 assist so far, but a lot of impact in this game.
Highlights from first half action. Randy Stotts opening our scoring. And then Zed Williams joined the fray as well.
Yeah, a lot of Swarm highlights in the early part of this. It was 5-0 after the first period. And it was Stotts, Williams, Wiedemann, Cole, Jackson. A lot of different Swarm players getting involved. But then you're going to start to see the tide shifting and Philadelphia getting back into this contest. And it started with Blaze Riordan.
The first 5, though, for Georgia, let's just backtrack really quick. The first 5 goals for Georgia building that 5-0 lead, all different men, as you brought up.
Yeah, it was amazing just how they were able to create some shots, and then Philadelphia able to respond back. And this was the goal that I think really just kind of epitomized what they were trying to do late in the first half, and that was get physical and use that physicality to create opportunity. And then technical stuff, like when Georgia was on the power play penalty kill, they were going back and forth, forcing the Georgia defense to move left and right, and then exploiting that. It's just going to be a reset button now. You almost play this as if it's 0-0 if you're Philadelphia, and if you're Georgia. You have to win this half to win this contest. And for Philly, winning this half, you got to win by more than 1 on aggregate, yes, but they just know. Carry that momentum through of what they found in that second quarter and try to win this half. And you have to believe that the way they played in that second quarter, they're more than a goal better in their locker room and their mindset than Georgia has been from that same point forward.
Tabitha Turner is down on the floor. She has former Georgia Swarm player, current Philadelphia Wing, Kyle Matee.
Kyle, the Wings broke out for 6 goals in that second quarter. How do you continue that momentum in the second half?
I think just ride the high and continue to play our system. You know, we were a bit quiet there when we had a little bit of a lull and a slow start, but you know, keeping positive and staying connected as a group.
Thanks, Kyle. Good luck in the second. Guys.
Now you'll wonder what Paul Day said to his men out of the halftime break. Couldn't have been anything but positive, as you've mentioned a couple of times. Down 6-0 and 7-1. They outscore Georgia in the waning moments in the first half and draw back to within 7-6. Scoring leaders, by the way, in the ball game for the Georgia Swarm, Shane Jackson and Randy Stotts go for 2 and 2. So 4 points in the first half. Also got 3 assists from Zach Miller. Matt Rambo had 3 assists, did not tickle the twine, but again, the 3 assists, and they were big. Blaze Riordan with 2 goals and an assist. 4 assists for Kevin Crowley. Watch all the action from around the National Lacrosse League this season on BR Live. Choose an annual, monthly, or per game pass. For more information, visit NLL.com/BR Live. And of course, the man you saw just a moment ago, Kyle Matee, he had 2 goals in the first half as well. So that's where we stand. 7-6. Georgia out in front as we start second half play against Philadelphia. 2 teams sitting on 7 wins in the East Division. Georgia at 7-4. That one's squeaking in, and they'll say it did cross the line. Shot was put on top of Higgins. He made the initial save. He did not move afterwards, Brandon. I think that's important to emphasize. I think he thought this ball was away to his left.
Yeah, he thought with the shoulder action, he was either going to knock it over the crossbar, behind the goal, or just kind of shove it away. You take a look at how he just shrugged his shoulder. He thought it was going to go past the crossbar, and it just ended up with enough English. That's why they always say, put it on goal, fire it on goal. Maybe good things will happen. And Liam Burns making it close, and Paul Day will throw that challenge flag, and we will have a review to see if this ball fully crossed the line into the goal, which it did, clear as day.
So we're going to go check it out for all the criteria.
I see the unintentional pun there. Did you see the funny hop that ball took, by the way?
That's that English on there.
Is that am I the only one who saw it? That, as of now, is the second assist of the night for Lyle Thompson. No goals, by the way, for the dynamic player Lyle Thompson. Just
hey, Hammer, can we go right to the overhead here? Right to the overhead.
Yeah, I think this would be a quick review.
And we'll go slow. Beautiful. Keep it rolling. All right, do you have any other angles? That's good, but I just want a second one because I know we're not straight overhead. Yeah, just because that one's not straight overhead. And just go back to, this one here too, please. All right, and go to the overhead for the last and final look. Thank you. Yeah, back up there. Roll from here. Yep. Roll forward, roll forward, roll forward, roll forward.
Let's just backspin hop.
Thank you. After review, the ball crosses the goal line. The call on the field stands.
And so there it is. Georgia will end the 5-goal run unanswered for Philadelphia. It's 8-6. The horn sounds, the goal dance is out. Randy Stotts now on the hat trick here tonight. He scored the first goal of the night for Georgia, the 6th goal of the night for Georgia. Now he has his hat trick to go along with 2 assists. Randy Stotts is a man on fire in the last few weeks of this season. I mean, he's been great since, day one, Brandon, but especially now over the last few weeks, Randy Stotts has been on fire. 8-6 Georgia, 45 seconds into the third quarter.
A little screen from behind from Matisse. Now for the Swarm. You want to start this half like you started the game and try to build that lead up and force Philadelphia to play behind so you can, at a certain point, start weathering the storm and cherry pick opportunities.
Miller. Zach had 3 assists first half. Zed Williams tries to go with the worm burner, which he is just about as good as anybody in the league at doing. He'll not connect this time. Save for Higgins. Zach Higgins has faced 26 shots on goal, has 18 saves. Jordan Hall over midfield stripe, mid-floor stripe.
Now you see this one going back to what they did to start the contest. Very methodical. Now they want to try to dissect this Philadelphia defense. Spin back from Hall. Thought he was going to turn the corner and take a shot.
Had Vittorelli on top of him. And Georgia has it back. Running out of time on the shot clock. Put one on top. And they'll hit him with a violation just the same. Didn't quite get it off in time. Patton comes out with it, give it off to an offensive man and reset things. Matt Rambo. Reardon had it. Here's Crowley. Kevin Crowley. Oh, tried to make the move around. Lost it. Here come the Swarm. Noble. Oh, a stick save.
Great job.
Oh, that ball hit the post or the stick?
I think it was the stick of Zach Higgins waiting for the last possible second to make his move and to take away the shot from Noble. That's all he could have done there. Given the odd man rush, it was basically 3 on none. One Philadelphia defender was trailing back.
Joe White already with 1 breakaway goal so far this year. A bit of a wild shot there from Chad Tutton. Wanted to join the scoring fray this year for the defenders. Big news, by the way, coming across in the National Lacrosse League this afternoon. Commissioner Sakevich was on the BR broadcast up in Halifax, you were saying, Brandon.
Yeah, and announced the 14th team will be coming soon. They will announce it fairly soon, and he said it will be a U.S. market. Mike Poulin taking a tumble as it looked like a Philadelphia player fell on top of the Georgia keeper.
You're mentioning expansion, of course. We knew that it was coming. The commissioner announcing during an early season interview that 3 new teams would probably be coming in the next 3 years or 4 years. Here's the play.
Yeah,
oh, no.
The block up high and goes into that knee of Mike Poulin.
That's the type of injury you see sustained. Let's see in another sport. Let's draw a comparison. An offensive lineman, perhaps?
Yeah, just unexpected. Engaged, basically. And then...
Well, he's coming to his feet now here in-house. Live, look at this. This will be the angle.
Yeah, the best part about that, if there is a good part, about getting a grown man in Blaze Reardon 215 pounds into your kneecap is the needed reverse flex. When you get that hyperextension, that causes problems. It looked like
Reardon, or the ankle foot.
Yeah, it looked like Reardon hit and kind of just fell into Mike Poulin, so just kind of rolled his leg up a little bit, but never forced that negative flex and then hyperextension.
They play the Rocky theme in the house. for Mike Poulin, as we like to call him, the Poulin wall. Loose ball picked up by the wings, and they're pushing. This is Ryan Wagner. Wagner going to give off to a teammate. Shot put on top. That was Liam Patton. Patton been quiet with his penalties tonight, by the way. You know, he's the #1 guy in the league as far as minors served. Little dancing move here for Courier. Give off. Quick time. Saved by Poulin.
Two big tests for Mike Poulin, and then Mike Poulin is going to get banged for a penalty, a legal screen there to Mike Poulin, but those two shots that came at Mike Poulin, he had to take a step forward, which is a great test of that leg, and the ball don't lie from Kevin Crowley. Little Rasheed Wallace there.
Not just in basketball, you're saying?
That looked like a clear screen, and then Kevin Crowley karma, the lacrosse karma, kind of took that back out of the official's hands.
Jordan Hall driving in. We've got ourselves a penalty called, I believe.
Man, it happened quick. Didn't even give Mike Poulin a chance to get off the field for the extra attacker.
Philadelphia minor penalty, holding.
And it was on the shot, it was the hold.
So the minor will be hit. The hold call on Anthony Joachim. Joachim, an Ontario man. 6'2", 205-pounder.
And that's the illegal screen from Poulin, which I think was clear.
Bounce shot save. Ball's laying around in the crease. Picked up by Stotts. Stotts tries to pass it behind his back. Across the floor to Shane Jackson. He could not cradle it. It's rolling around down there on the boards. We've got ourselves a hockey scrum. I don't suppose you can call it a scrum if it's hockey, but you know what I mean. Picked up by
Rugby,
Lyle.
Australian rules football,
That's it.
a little footy, as they call it in Melbourne.
I'm just going to let you keep going. See what you say next.
Surfer's paradise.
Brandon Joseph, for those of you that have tuned in throughout the year this year, maybe if you missed our pregame or you're listening on radio, Brandon went with the gold jacket tonight. The gold jacket. So if you had gold in your pool, you're
Is that
the
a
winner.
thing? Is that a thing that you can find on BetMGM?
You would love if that was a pool.
I would love to be a prop bet on BetMGM, official partner of the National Lacrosse League. If you're listening, make it happen.
Lyle Thompson tries for his first of the night. He'll not be able to connect. Higgins has been back and forth tonight. He's made some really fine saves. If we're just being honest, he's let a few soft ones through. Well, not a few. I should probably say one for sure, maybe two. But on the whole, I think Higgins has been pretty good tonight.
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of tough shots that he's had to face early in the contest. A lot of shots where the defense has let him down, where they gave Swarm players clear opportunities to close up and just rip one right in the face, and no keeper wants that. Those are some of the toughest ones to stop, and you know, once they settle down defensively, as this power play is dwindling away, once they've settled down defensively, they've really gotten into an offensive flow and really helped Higgins that his defense is straight up in front of him.
Stop! Randy Stotts with 4 goals on the night.
Randy Stotts with the short hop that would eat up Nomar Garcia-Parra or anybody. Jimmy Rollins, if you want the Philadelphia comparison. Just take a look at how he puts it on him, and it just eats up Zach Higgins.
Do you know how many Philadelphians you just
offended? They'll be okay.
They're a tough breed up there, right?
Yeah, and they don't have to worry about Gabe Kapler anymore. They should be happy. Analytics say they should be happy.
Yes, indeed. 9-6, our score now, Georgia. 2 unanswered for Georgia in this third quarter. I talked about early in the ball game how Philadelphia was facing an uphill climb in the second quarter, with the second quarter being Georgia's best quarter this year, outscoring their opponents by 19 goals. They were relatively quiet in the second frame, as Georgia only scored once in that second quarter, marked that twice in the second quarter. They've been pretty good in the third quarter as well, but Philadelphia survived the storm, down 6-0, down 7-1. Got it to 7-6, but sends Georgia with 2 unanswered. And the dead ball will take us to the break. Well, we've had 15 goals in the affair tonight. We knew we'd have a little bit of that. We also knew we'd have a little physicality. Oh, what a ball game brewing in Metro Atlanta on BR Live. Back on BR Live in a 3-goal game. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Fans, don't miss any of the hard-hitting action when the Wings face off against the New York Riptide on Sunday, March 15th, 7 p.m. opening face-off. Celebrate St. Patrick's Day early with $5 domestic drafts at Bet Rivers Casino Sports Lounge at the Wells Fargo Center. Be there to cheer on the Wings and experience all the nonstop lacrosse action. Score your tickets now at wingslax.com. That's wingslax.com. Brandon, $5 drafts.
I'll take it.
Philly road trip, you ready?
And Philly will take another goal from Reardon. There's Blaze able to create an opportunity and just backpedaling. Noble had to worry about Matt Rambo. That's Matt Rambo affecting the game. Realized that there's a roll behind him. Noble couldn't close out on Reardon. And
hat trick for Reardon, by the way. Put him on 12 goals for the 2019-2020 campaign. 37 points for the year. 9-7 ends the tight and tidy little 2-0 run for Georgia.
Now back to the $5 draft.
I knew it. I absolutely knew it. I could tell by the look on your face. Rolling around behind Higgins. Look at how that ball kind of took a right turn there and eluded him for a moment. Georgia had a man on top, but could not quite corral it. And Philadelphia has possession back.
Physics of a bouncing ball or moving ball have not been Zach Higgins' friend tonight. I don't know if it's because Mercury may be in retrograde or something, how the ball's spinning on the Earth axis, but Zach Higgins is not having fun here in Sting City.
Matisse. That's a good clean carpet here in Georgia. Shot clock violation. Georgia has it back. Good clean carpet here inside of Sting City. But you're right, we'll see that every once in a while. Funny hops. Saw it on a breakaway a few weeks ago. The ball took a funny hop and scooped up by Georgia, and they got a breakaway goal.
Well, that's just the way the ball bounces.
That's too easy.
Over and back there, Philadelphia get a chance to restart it.
Philadelphia fans are booing that last joke you just made.
They booed Santa
And you know
Claus.
what? No, I know.
They'll boo anything.
But that was my point. This time, they're in the right. This is Reardon. Reardon going to give it off to Crowley. Crowley now finding Hickey. Hickey going to work to the point, but give off to a couple of men. Or it goes through a couple of men. Shot is wide. Georgia's getting it back. Thanks for joining us once again on BR Live, your home for the National Lacrosse League all throughout the championship season. And for those of you in Metro Atlanta joining us on the radio, on the Sports X, 106.3 FM, 1230 AM. 9-7, Georgia out in front, good spin move. Decides to pull it out, give off to Jordan Hall. Hall with a left-handed shot, goes off to the right of Higgins. 6-minute mark, third quarter, just 8 on the shot clock. Save, Zach Miller gonna put a shot on Higgins. Higgins makes a save with his glove left hand, and Philadelphia has it back.
Swarm not really getting the offensive looks that they wanted in this beginning of the second half, but still getting that 2-goal advantage. I think for Philadelphia, everything's kind of playing to hand, and they just wanted to keep it close, try to strike like they did right there.
Man alive. That was lightning quick and beautifully, I mean beautifully executed. Reardon with the catch, the one time, the goal, his fourth.
That's what Philadelphia's really wanted to do since they were able to close up that lead. Just a little deep move.
Not a one-timer, I stand corrected.
2-3 moves got Mike Poulin. Take a look. Move 1, move 2, move 3, and on the 4th move, Reardon was just able to sneak it by the arm. I think if Poulin had another opportunity, he just would have been more aggressive to meet Blaze Reardon more up in the crease to take away any angle.
So again, Blaze Reardon has just tallied his 4th goal of the night, 13th of the year, 9-8 Georgia now. Right back down. Weedman put a left-handed shot on top of Higgins, who made the save. Loose ball back behind the net. It's picked up by Philadelphia, but we got some contact back behind the crease.
A loose ball push will give possession back to the Swarm.
Shots on goal nearly dead even. 33 for Georgia, 32 for Philadelphia. That was once a 12-shot edge for Georgia. Shane Jackson passes behind the net to Zed Williams. Zed will lose the handle. Get back off to Shane, who's collapsing in on the crease. Puts a shot right on Higgins, who makes a save narrowly with his right thigh pad, I suppose.
Great job of Georgia earning the extra possession there, fighting to get the ball clear to get a fresh shot clock.
Miller to Jackson. Jackson gives it off to Zed. Zed can't finish it off. 15 on the shot clock.
Made their move with enough time that if they did miss it, they would be able to get another opportunity like they did right here.
Zed with a rifle shot. It kicks off of the left post. And the Wings have it back.
It's a huge possession for the Wings.
Drive right in, Matisse! No, they're gonna wave it off. They'll say that Matisse was in the crease. Get ready to see a red hanky on the floor.
Well, Paul Derry challenged a goal earlier that was overturned, a little English play.
Goal.
Off of
Interference,
Zach
the goal is
Higgins.
disallowed. Goal.
Wave off will stand.
That break-in play will send us to a broadcast break as well.
It's a 2-minute minor, goaltender interference, the goal is disallowed.
And we'll start out of the break with a penalty. Georgia will be on the power play with a 1-goal lead. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on BR Live. Back here in Metro Atlanta, Lyle Thompson has just corralled his 500th career loose ball in this ball game. There it is. Georgia right now owns a 9-8 lead. Lyle Thompson, one of the great players in our game today. Without a goal in this ball game, by the way, so that's another developing storyline. Does have 3 assists, has been obviously an integral part of the offense so far. It's a 5-0 first quarter in favor of Georgia. If you're just tuning in, 5-0 Georgia won the first quarter. Philadelphia winning the second frame 6-2. And now here in this third stanza, we're at 2-2 in the scoring. Georgia, as you see, starts on the power play.
Yeah, 2-minute minor for
goal
Matisse and for that interference. And it pays off for the Swarm there to get back up on top with a bigger advantage.
Lyle Thompson. He says, hold on a second, Mr. Broadcaster. Let me go ahead and get that first tally of the night. That's the second time you've mentioned it, Chris. I'm not a fan of it, so here's my first goal.
Yeah, Lyle Thompson is way nicer than what I would have said. Shut up, Chris! That's what I would have done, but Lyle Thompson just
for Lyle
methodical.
Thompson. It's goal number 27 of the campaign.
Just so smooth, kind of like that 500 loose ball. You had to point out where it was because Lyle Thompson is as smooth as they come. He is walking viscosity. That's how smooth he is.
27 goals, now 32 assists on the year. Next weekend, the National Lacrosse League Game of the Week moves to Buffalo as Steve Priolo and the Bandits welcome Callum Crawford and the Black Wolves to KeyBank Center. Catch all the action on BR Live, Twitter, and Facebook starting at 7 p.m.
It's big for the Swarm to get that goal and keep it at 2. I think with Philadelphia, they want to get back to tying, and tying would be that energizing factor for them if they can get back just level, something that they haven't seen since the game begun.
Miller gonna go for it. It's right into the rib cage of Higgins, who makes the save. Higgins gonna send a long ball down. No real chance at an offensive outlet as Wagner has it in the stick. Give off to Courier.
That was more of a pressure release valve for Higgins, just kind of make sure the Swarm didn't attack before they got to midfield.
Weedman will take it. It's deflected. Oh, a hard check into the board. Brian Cole will end up with a loose ball. Georgia now will get the chance to see if they want to substitute somebody on. Cole not afraid to take it, of course, with offensive ability. Randy Stotts checked in. He's got it for now, and he'll give it off to Thompson. Lyle going to try another ripper, but Higgins is there for the save. No chance at a breakaway. Push forward. Bounce shot attempt, hops over. Not doing this time for Isaiah Davis Allen, Pennsylvania man.
Great job in the midfield for the Swarm to win possession. First option was knock it back across the midfield line to get the over and back, which they were able to do. Then it's win possession outright, which they did. Now they're able to set the offense under 2 minutes to go in this third quarter.
Try for the tough pass. Hall could not corral it. It's picked up by Philadelphia. Matisse. Kyle tries for a fancy pass, and it ends up in the possession of Leo Sturris.
Yeah, it was a real beautiful pass from Matisse, just landed in the wrong color uniform. 2017, that would have been a great pass.
Miller, always on that right side. Stotts, Randy, tries a pass from behind the net, down in front. Pass is not connected, and here we go. 3 points for a pin now, remember. This is Jokey.
Let's just take the deuces. We're going to go 5 on 5.
Some AEW stuff.
5 on 5, Georgia ball. You two done yet? Good. Well, we're all tangled. Here, I'll help you out. Both guys are going for minors. Stuker taking both for roughs. 5 on 5, it's going to stay this way.
Le Champion.
No, absolutely. I absolutely am. That's
Chris Jericho, Le Champion.
That's a very interesting matchup, by the way, from Anthony Joachim and Brennan Bomberry. Let's get the call, by the way. They're not going to get out unscathed.
Georgia, Philadelphia, both minor penalties, roughing.
Yeah, that's the right call. That's a massive humanity, though, by the way. Bomberry, 6'2", 185. Let's take another look.
Yeah, and Matisse clearly lands inside the crease and makes the contact with Poulin, which got him a 2-minute interference penalty, in which the Swarm were able to capitalize on. So that fourth event huge, because if Paul Day would have had a challenge flag available to him, he lost that challenge early in the third. Maybe it comes out different. Maybe that interference gets negated. Just 2-goal swing.
Two big guys in the box. Spreads out the floor a little bit. Fewer guys out on the floor. By the way, Joachim, 6'2", 205. He had 6'2", 205, wrestling around with 6'2", 185.
Somebody that's 5'8", I want none of that, boss.
10-8 score.
Higgins is cheating off the floor, but there will be a 5-second difference. I think he was informed to get back in there.
Hickey has his shot deflected.
And a smart move to tell him to get back in there as the Swarm get possession outright. Shot clock off. Poolin's going to stay on.
They got the 3-on-2. Williams is going to decide to back it up. He's got 3 and 2, and the save is made by Higgins. Wait a minute.
Nap time for Higgins to pin that ball down. And they still want to go at it.
Well, here we go.
Moxley versus Jericho. I'm sorry, this is not AEW.
No, Higgins went down like he was...
Go just chilling.
Go. No, just him.
This is what happens when you get 3 matchups in 2 months.
They're tired of seeing each other's faces.
Roughly. I guess actually it might be 2.5 months, but you know what I mean.
55, a 2-minute minor, illegal cross-check.
Cross-checking Cole. Higgins takes the seat. And you see Cole with the cross-check on Liam Patton. And then, because nothing is left without being marked, Isaiah Davis Allen comes in, IDA. Takes up for his boy. That's team love.
Hickey's going to rip it at 0.4 seconds. Poulin will make the save right there in the solo plex. We're going to work in every wrestling reference that we can the rest of the way. as we get ready for the fourth quarter.
And 10 to 8.
Cage. 10 to 8, Georgia with a 2-goal lead in a massively important matchup in the East Division of the National Lacrosse League standings. Playoff implications unfolding in the fourth quarter. It's the National Lacrosse League on BR Live. Back inside Sting City, the Infinite Energy Arena here in Metro Atlanta. If you love the National Lacrosse League, you'll love all the highlights. On our social channels, get the best goals, saves, and action during the games and during the week on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and at NLL.com. So, a 10-8 lead for the Georgia Swarm on top of the Philadelphia Wings. Both teams sitting on 7 wins in the East Division. New England sits above both teams on 8 wins. New England at 8-3, Georgia at 7-4, Philadelphia at 7-6. Massively important game in the National Lacrosse League and the East Division standings. Remember, with the new format of the playoffs in the National Lacrosse League, each division winner gets a top 3 seed. Then you take all the second place teams in each division, not by best record overall, but each second place team in each division will get a 4, 5, or 6 seed. Then the league will take the next best teams wherever they happen to finish and give them a 7 and 8 seed. If you're Georgia, you know that no matter what happens here tonight, you'll still be in second place, at least by percentage points in the East. Philadelphia knows that if they lose here tonight, they fall to 7 and 7. They're not in trouble. They'll still have 4 games to go, and they'll be the favorites to get to a 7 or 8 seed, but they'll have their work cut out for them, to say the least. Now, Philadelphia also, as we reset here, will have the 1-man advantage. Got 1:35 left on the power play. Georgia's been so good on the kill this year. They'll try to survive another one.
Ball hit the McIntosh right in the back, and McIntosh able to turn around and corral it. They'll be able to milk another 15 seconds off of this penalty. But the way the Swarm are acting, they want to get a goal-scoring opportunity here shorthanded. It looks like they'll get whistled for substitution.
We're about to find out. Yeah, substitution infraction.
Legal substitution.
Georgia, minor penalty, illegal substitution.
Oh boy.
Now there'll be 2 men down.
With at least 114, barring, of course, the Philadelphia goal.
Tarbell is the in-house. He will serve all illegal substitution penalties or penalties against Mike Poulin.
So 5-3 advantage now as far as men go on the floor for Philadelphia, and they capitalize instantly. Back to a 1-point game on the goal by Brett Hickey. Brett not been able to really get off here in this ball game. He leads his club in goals scored at 27. He has 14 assists as well. And guess what? He also leads his team in power play goals, now with 8 on the campaign.
Yeah, they came in and really quick for them. Just, it's hard to guard when it's 5-on-4, let alone when it's 5-on-3. Little triangle pattern there from the Swarm, and just pass it all the way across. Just wait for the opportunity to open up, and the Swarm will get Brendan Bomberry out of the penalty box. He was part of those matching minders, which is big for them to have that physical body in there, as they still have to kill off the penalty with a minute 49 left to go in the illegal substitution.
As Brendan said, Philadelphia is still on the power play here. That was the first goal tonight for Brett Hickey to go along with 3 assists. 1-goal game.
A little more aggressive defensively from the Swarm.
Save made by the Poulin wall. Tried to send ahead. Can he catch up to it? Yes. Jordan McIntosh got a man on his back. Matt tried for the shorthanded goal, could not connect. McIntosh looking for his first shorthanded goal of the year.
Risky reward, the risk of trying to pick up a shorthanded goal versus the reward of trying to milk 30 off the penalty there. If you love the opportunity, the look that McIntosh got. You got to take it there. Don't blame him at all for trying to get that shorty opportunity.
Rowley goes for 5-hole. Tries to burn a stripe in the floor. Pullen able to make the save on 5-hole.
And the little things, Mike Pullen not picking that ball up immediately, wasting 2 seconds before the shot clock got started. Now this turns into a 32-second possession at a minimum. Who knows where the deflection may carry him. With 24 left to go in this penalty, you could find yourself with a good turnaround.
Randy gonna have to hurry.
Kill the rest of this penalty. This is exactly what they wanted to do.
Of course, that's not a bad violation. Final 10 of the power play. Georgia ready to make the change.
Marvell's gonna have to join in defensively immediately.
Willie. Or Willie just streak across the floor. Be switched out for. Nope, he's gonna jump in, you're right. He's gonna go careening inside. And now Georgia has possession back and they're pushing. McIntosh will slow things down.
McIntosh trying to direct traffic. He wanted to get an onboard attacker on, trying to signal Cole to go out the nearest door. Cole instead went closest to the attacking door, and McIntosh kind of wanted to get another forward on quicker.
Thompson to Williams. Set at the point. Being checked. And his shot goes over and out of play.
Tough shot there for Zed with a body right in front of you.
Wagner going to give off to an offensive man and head out.
He's gotten extremely better at closing out on ball. The Swarm have it, trying to attack.
Rambo, that one right on the line, and they'll say that it was saved by Pullen. Oh my goodness, I can't wait to see the shot that our crew got on that one. But of course, Day cannot challenge, as Brandon has articulated to you, on 2 separate major occasions since he challenged earlier. Well, wait a minute now.
Hey, get the scenarios going.
Am I wrong on this?
Boys are saying it's a goal.
The video tell us. I'm going to remind you, though, the overhead is not directly overhead.
Just like the last one. Just like the
Yes. Same one, but I'm just reminding you.
Hands on the goal line, it never goes over.
Yeah, I didn't have it from single rolling over either.
They burn one challenge, they're out of timeout.
Get Dukas to get some scenarios. We can get him over here and get him.
Don't worry, I got the scenario.
Get him going on it.
Officials chatting it up, and of course, this is NLL BR Live Wire.
Hey, guys. You got her. Slow her down now.
Oh, wow.
This is perfect speed.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, back up and let's give one more roll. I love the speed we went there. Let's just get it when the ball's coming in here. Bouncing on the line, bouncing, bouncing, bouncing. And slightly off center. Cutting to the rescue. Keep going. Yeah. Gotcha. Okay, let's try another look here. Just not going to get much out of this one. Yeah, the goal cam's the one here, guys. Well, yeah, see, that gives a nice vantage point to match with the overhead. So let's drop to the net then. Sorry, the net cam's glitching. Okay. Yeah, it does backspin nicely up there. Okay, guys, thank you. Hello? Hello? As a result of inconclusive evidence, the ruling on the field stands, no goal.
Oh, baby, what a close call, Brandon Joseph. I've got to tell you, I thought it was going to go the other way Thanks so much, by the way, really quickly from our crew, miking these guys up, giving us the chance to listen in on these conversations from the officials. Now, Brandon, break this thing down.
So, really quickly to unpack here.
They glitched out, so I didn't have the net count.
For a delay of game penalty. And Paul Day, each coach has 2 challenges. What we were misinformed on earlier was he could not challenge the Kiel Matisse goal, no goal, because Matisse made contact with Mike Poulin, thus nullifying any opportunity to make a call, because the goal would not have stood regardless, because you cannot contact the goalie under any circumstance.
Shot from Stotts.
So that was his second challenge. He is officially out of challenges. We can be sure of that. Somebody has taken his red flag away from him.
Minute and a half on the power play. Georgia, one of the best teams in the league in the power play, although they have started to waver just a tad bit. They're number 4 in the league. They've had some good ball games and some not so good ball games over about the last 5 or so. So the numbers have kind of stayed the same on average in totality, if you know where I'm going. But they've also had some rough appearances over the last 5 ball games. Now, a minute left on the power play.
The thing that
One goal game.
Puzzling to me is that they decided to basically run out the shot clock there, and you're trailing a goal. Every second is precious. So take the opportunity. You have possession clearing away. Try to get a goal in case Georgia scores on this, that you minimize the damage.
Well, perhaps this time, as it's pushed ahead by Liam Burns. Burns, the New York native. Now they've given off. They'll get the offensive men on board.
They can end this possession with a good shot. They don't need to worry about making passes to avoid an interception in transition. Try to get a shot, as Rambo did.
We'll have ourselves another break on the floor. When we come back, 17 minutes remaining on the penalty. 1 goal game, BR Live. Georgia and Philadelphia in a 1 goal game, 10-9. And Randy Stotts has been tremendous tonight.
Yeah, 4 goals, 3 assists for Randy Stotts, and just a phenomenal effort. We had him highlighted as our key player in the pregame, and he's lived up to the hype. He's very casual in talking to Tabitha Turner before the contest, knowing that it was a big game, but keeping the sense that they didn't want to do anything different. He's just playing his game, and it's resulted in goals and assists for the Six Nation Ontario native.
7-point night. Gear up for Philadelphia Wings lacrosse. Don't miss any of the hard-hitting action and family fun when the Wings take the turf at the Wells Fargo Center. Single game tickets on sale now for all Wings lacrosse home games. Score your tickets today at wingslax.com. That's wingslax.com.
Have a good time there at the Wells Fargo Center for some Wings lacrosse.
Georgia made the trip in just once this year. 2 teams met twice here at Sting City in Metro Atlanta. Imagine that'll flip-flop. Next year, bounce shot is in. Shane Jackson running off right side of the offense. He was about, let's call it 10 yards or so away from Higgins, and he kind of looked him off. He was looking to the center point, and then he took him.
Yeah, take a look at that. Shane Jackson not even in the shot. He'll come in the overhead.
And boy, when he took the shot, Brandon, I don't mean to step on you here, sir. He was still looking to the center.
Yeah, good job of holding the defense there. They were worried about Jordan Hall in the middle, and you saw that late reaction from Higgins. He was more concerned of protecting near post, but also shading for a quick pass to the middle for Jordan Hall for a quick one-time redirect, and that just got him beat. He left a little too much space for Shane Jackson.
I think he was expecting that pass out to the point or at close range to Hall, as you mentioned. 31st goal of the year now, and Shane Jackson has yet another hat trick on the season. Poulin gonna scoop one up. Look for a moderately deep outlet. Brian Cole. Now Cole can take it, remember. He'll give off where he tried to anyway to McIntosh. Pass was behind Mac, kicked off the board. Philadelphia picked it up, but we got a whistle that's blown play dead.
Looked like it was an illegal screen.
Loose ball push the call. 11-9, Georgia's out in front. Again, thanks for joining us on BR Live. Your home for Georgia Swarm Lacrosse all throughout the season and for the rest of the National Lacrosse League, quite obviously. And if you're joining us in Metro Atlanta on the radio, thanks for doing so on the SportsX 106.3 FM, 106.3 FM, 12:30 a.m. They've waved off this goal by Lyle Thompson. It's a call, Brandon. Is he in the crease?
Crease violation.
Thank you.
Judging by the reaction of Lyle Thompson when he got up, he didn't want Coach Cuomo to waste the challenge.
Yeah, he popped up and took off, didn't he? No argument?
Yeah, and you have to trust in Lyle Thompson. If Lyle Thompson would have stayed down or kind of threw his hands up, that challenge flag would have came out immediately from Coach Cuomo. You know Lyle Thompson's game. That's in his repertoire of shots. He knows exactly his takeoff point.
Bomberry, give off to Zed. Zed with a rocket worth of bounce shot.
He beat everything but the goal. That had Higgins beat, that had all the defenders beat. A great job of the hesitation.
Reset shot clock. Stott! Off to the left of Higgins.
I think that was trying to dump it off to Zed.
Thompson gonna test him.
Swarm doing a great job of getting these shots, creating more opportunities. Now they're taking the time as we are under 7 minutes. Easier to milk the clock before it gets down to those championship rounds.
Higgins with 34 saves tonight, by the way. Jackson tries for the 5-hole and Higgins makes the save.
Liam Burns stepped in front of that shot.
Pushing forward, careening in on Poulin. Nothing doing, find a man down in front on the dump off. That was swatted away, delayed penalty is coming. Anthony Joaquin tried for the goal.
Interference would be called against the Swarm, it looks like.
Georgia penalty, 2-minute minor holding committed on a player that was on a breakaway. Therefore, we have a penalty shot.
Oh, it's going to be a penalty shot. It's going to be a hold on a player who is breaking away. Same rule as in hockey and soccer. Commit a foul against a player who has a clear and obvious advantage. I don't think it was the contact, it was the wrap up there, but you could make a case that by that time another defender had come in equal or level, but we'll have a penalty shot here, and it'll be Matisse.
Kyle Matisse coming in on Mike Poulin, and Matisse is able to score. Kyle Matisse has knocked home a penalty shot. At 6:32 of the fourth quarter, it's a 1-goal game.
Yeah, Matisse swings out wide, creates that lane, that opportunity, that window there, forcing Poulin to give up at least half the goal as he comes in, just making the move there.
10th made penalty shot of the year across the league in 15 attempts. So it's not automatic, by the way. Even I can do that math. That's a third.
5 out of 4 people are very good at mathematics.
Let's take another look.
Yeah, so the contact there, they're saying the hold occurred right there, and it is a great call. It was before Lyle Thompson was able to become level. The initial contact was not the penalty, it was the wrap after, because he scored and he has the shot, the penalty shot opportunity. There is no man advantage.
That is the second penalty shot attempt this year from Matisse. He was denied by Steve Fryer of Rochester back in January, and the third time that Philadelphia has had a chance. They had 2 penalty shots in that very same ball game against Fryer in Rochester. Crowley connected, Matisse did not. Now they're looking for the equalizer as we hit the 6-minute mark here in Atlanta. And the shot clock is run away.
Looks like that we will have more penalties. I wonder if it would just be a Philadelphia player.
What is our count up to?
12 offenses. This will be the 13th offense.
Thank you.
Philadelphia number 21, a 2-minute minor slashing.
This slash. Kevin Crowley will get called with the slash. Now through the Swarm. That 2 margin, that safety net Call it locking in a lead. Get a lead and then lock it in with that extra goal there. It's critical here as this penalty will bring them basically under 5 minutes.
Stotts winds up. Long winding overhead shot does not connect. Lyle Thompson comes up empty as well. Jordan Hall scoops up the loose ball and he's got it back. Randy at the point, behind the back. His pass was deflected and now it's picked up by Philadelphia and they've got a break going. At mid-floor, push up. Charbonneau. Philadelphia comes up empty. Poulin makes the save.
I don't think that goal would have counted anyway because it was trying to score in a sweeping motion. You're not allowed to wreck the ball to score a goal, so I think no matter what, Poulin stopped it clear, but I think that goal would have been disallowed.
Lyle's shot is deflected. A lot of deflected shots by Philadelphia. Obviously, they are focusing incredibly on getting sticks up. Of course, defenders always are, but you know what I mean. They've been far more successful so far in the second half of this ball game.
Philadelphia's done a great job on the penalty kill. Limiting Georgia's opportunities and forcing them to take shots from out wide, shots from the point, not letting them get inside and working around tight spaces, forcing Higgins to move.
Rambo tried a shot because he had to. The shot clock running down. That one was deflected. Falls off Aaron. And now 21 seconds will be remaining on the penalty when we come back from the break. Headed for a fantastic finish in Metro Atlanta. 1-goal game on BR Live. And now for the play of the game, presented by Geico. Randy Stotts gets a tricky little spin in his favor.
Yeah, Randy Stotts scores the hat trick in the most unusual fashion with a little hop, skip, and a twist as the ball just clears the line. And upon review, it was confirmed, Randy Stotts with the goal of the game.
That ball wasn't a skizzer. Is that the one you used last week when we were together and it was all over social media? Oh, I'm sorry.
What you said was something totally different.
That's a total, okay. Well, one of these days you'll have to explain what skibber means.
Randy hit the skizzer.
Oh boy. That's the play of the game presented by Geico. Made it 8-6. Georgia has led throughout. You're just tuning in as now the penalty has come to a close for Philadelphia. We'll be back to even strength. Georgia leads 11-10 under the 4-minute mark left in the ball game. This was once a 6-0 and 7-1 Georgia lead. Philadelphia went on a 5-goal run the back half of the second quarter to put us at 7-6 at the half. And while we haven't quite been back and forth ever since, at the same time, each team have been chasing each other. And now, fittingly, in a matchup of this high-level importance, we are tied at 11. Once again, it's Blade. No. Is that Brett Hickey? That's Brett Hickey, I believe. Let's catch the number. Is it 10, Blaze Reardon, or 11, Brett Hickey? That is Blaze Reardon. Blaze on a 5-goal night, if my numbers are right. Yes, indeed. 7 points on the night for Blaze Reardon.
And not since the game was started at 0-0 has Philadelphia been level. After trailing 5-0, they've finally been able to fight back. With 3:33 left to go, it's a brand new game.
Fans, don't forget, coming up on NLL Post Game Live, highlights and analysis of tonight's ball game and a look at scores from across the league with Mark Zinno and Drew Petkoff, all coming up after the game on Post Game Live. Bounce shot goes astray off to the left of Poulin. So from 6-0 up, 7-1 up, now an 11-11 ball game. Man alive.
Every possession is so critical.
I'm sorry, Brandon. Yes, you go ahead. What does this do to your psyche if you're one of these teams and you let this game get away from you now? If you're Philadelphia, you take pride in the fact that you came back, but of course it would be their 4th consecutive loss. Your season's starting to head in the wrong direction for Georgia. Man alive, you're playing your best lacrosse of the season. Arguably, you get up 6-0, 7-1. If they let this ball game get away from them, I'm not so sure.
Well, that's the thing, too. If you're Philadelphia, you have no choice but to win this game. You're trailing as much as you did early in this contest, the game was lost anyway. Why are you going to fight this hard to get back? This is what Paul Day is saying to the guys. Why did we fight so hard to get back in this contest to give it away again? So you have no choice but to win this game. If you're Ed Cuomo, what you're telling the guys is, hey, we've weathered this storm before. Stick to what we gave us the lead. We're not going to deviate from that. And one more opportunity, 1 or 2 more goals, and you're good.
Send ahead, one-on-one. Save made in the 5-hole by Higgins. Oh my goodness. These two teams know about overtimes, by the way. Georgia 1-2 on the year in overtimes. Philadelphia 0-1. Could we be headed for an extra frame here in Metro Atlanta?
We are down to the point where it's almost sudden victory. Next goal may win it. The way these goalies are playing in the crease.
Through Poulin and into the back of the net. Philadelphia has claimed their first lead of the night at 1:35 remaining. It's 12-11 Wings. It's Brett Hickey, and that is so very hitting. Brett Hickey with 4 game-winning goals on the year for Philadelphia. That leads the National Lacrosse League. Now, of course, they're reviewing under 2 minutes.
Yeah, and this will be an easy confirmation of the goal. Nothing really to review here.
Man alive. Brett Hickey, the right-hander in his 8th year in the league, has just tallied for the 2nd time tonight. Putting him on 29 goals.
Subject to review, it's confirmed. Good goal.
Goal confirmed. Philly leads 12-11 with 95 seconds left to go.
Sting City, the Infinite Energy Arena here in the northeast portion of Metro Atlanta, the sprawling Metroplex, is in complete and utter shock. Philadelphia wins the faceoff. No big surprise there. They'll get 20 seconds to burn us down under a minute. Reardon gonna give off to Rambo. Matt's been quiet tonight. His team has 12 goals and they've come back. This could be the game of the year for Philadelphia. Shot on top of Poulin. Had to have the save if the Swarmer had any chance of winning this ball game. McIntosh has it, and a timeout has been called by Ed Cuomo, the Georgia Swarm, to try and get things set up. If you are Ed Cuomo, Brandon Joseph, what are you telling your squad here?
Well, first I'm telling them we're going to go with the extra attacker. There's no need to have Mike Poulin on the floor. This may very well be the last opportunity we have to set up a goal there. So I'm going to want the extra attacker there, and then we're going to make sure this is where it hurts having Miles Thompson be a healthy scratch there. But I'm going to go with Lyle, Zach Miller, Shane Jackson, Randy Stotts, and let 4 out of those 6 guys create.
Watch the National Lacrosse League with BR Live. Download the app to catch all the moments that matter. You don't just have to watch us on your laptop, your tablet. You can catch us via the BR Live app. I have it. It's great. You can cast to your television as well, as I will often do when the guys are out on the road. So there's Cuomo and Ladouceur, the Brain Trust, 2/3 of the Brain Trust. Georgia down by a goal, 1:05 remaining. I'm up out of my seat. I'll see if I can change the mojo in the building. I'm not superstitious. Stott's gonna bring it up. He'll pass just as he hits the front line. Lyle Thompson now has it. Lyle gonna try to whip around with a right-hander. It's no good. It's knocked around down in front, picked up by a man in white. Here comes the rough around for the ball, but Lyle Thompson has it. Zed, Lyle, behind the back. Randy Stotts gonna go around. Kick it back out in front. Zed, work around. Shane had it for a moment. It was knocked out. Still loose on the backside. And Philadelphia has it. They'll send us back down the other way. Intercepted pass. Mistake by Higgins. Swarm have it back. Down to 22 seconds. Shot is Aaron. Oh, and it gets away from Zed. That'll cost him a good 6 seconds or so. Lyle Thompson has it. We're down to 14. This is Stotts. We're down to 12. Shot on top of Higgins. Makes a shot at chest high. range. 8.3 remaining. And now we've got ourselves a penalty call underneath.
No, he covered the ball with his hand, his free hand, so give the ball back to the Swarm.
This will be a mad scramble at 8.3. Stotts with 5, with 4. The shot off of Higgins. Pop up in the air. Stotts will pick it up and whirl it in. And Higgins makes the save, and the game is over.
What a fight back for the Philadelphia Wings. Trailing 6-0 in the second quarter to battle back to win 12-11. And how about Zach Higgins? The effort.
That man is emotional.
This may be the game that saves all their hopes for their season for Philadelphia after the heartbreaking loss last night. Tied 6-6 entering the fourth quarter against the Black Wolves to come down here on this back end of the doubleheader and eke out a victory against the Swarm.
What an amazing, amazing night for the Philadelphia Wings. The Sunday evening in the South. Down 6-0 and 7-1. Philadelphia comes back to win 12-11 in Metro Atlanta. My goodness, what a victory, and potentially a season-defining victory, especially for Philadelphia. It was Heroes Night tonight in Metro Atlanta, and Philadelphia will have a litany of heroes in this ball game as they come back from a massive deficit. They'll get to 8 wins on the year, now 8-6 on the campaign. They'll end their 3-game losing streak. Georgia will fall to 7-5 on the year. Georgia will stay in second place, Philly in third, but they both, well, Philadelphia especially now, tied in the win column with New England. For Brandon Joseph and our entire crew here in Metro Atlanta, I'm Chris Mooneyham. Thanks for joining us, everybody. This has been the National Lacrosse League on BR Live.
Welcome back to the Infinite Energy Arena. It is NLL post-game live final tonight. The Philadelphia Wings winners 12-11 over the Georgia Swarm, and battling back after a 6-0 deficit. Blaze Reardon with 5 goals was the man who paced them along the way. He is down with Tabitha Turner.
Well, Blaze, what a game, you guys. I mean, you battled back after a scoreless first quarter. How'd you guys do it?
We trusted the process. It's been a long weekend. Back-to-backs are never easy, and Coach just preached sticking to the process, one shift at a time, one foot in front of the other, and they got on us early, but I think we weathered the storm and then picked up momentum as the game ended and worked out in our favor.
You know, Rambo and Crowley have been held scoreless this game, but you stepped it up with 5 goals. How did you know you had to take over?
I don't know anything. All I know is that I have to come in, play my hardest, trust the game plan, and when you're on the good end of the reciprocation and you get a couple goals, it feels good. But at the end of the day, I'm here to get a win, and that's what we did. So couldn't be happier.
You guys snapped that 3-game losing streak, got Georgia from taking the series. So for you guys, does it feel a little bit of vindication on your end?
Yeah, every game's important in this league, and every game's hard to win. 11-team league, every team's talented. Got to show up to play, and tonight we started off slow, but we did what we had to do to get a win, and that's all that matters.
Great game tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys.
Blaze Reardon, 5 goals, and a look at some of the fancy footwork. You know, his first 2 were carbon copies of each other right there as Reardon does that one, and then beats Mike Poole again on that left side. And you mentioned, Drew, that all of them came that way as he beats him on the left side here again.
Yeah, all of them are on the left side, and that was the only one that's a little bit different because he's kind of dancing around the crease. But even here, we're going to go left side.
And so you battle back out of a 6-0 deficit by a player getting 5 goals. Take a look at the final stats. And, you know, Georgia, with the exception of faceoffs, pretty much leading in every category, and it's hard to do it against Trevor Baptiste, the best in the league. But this is a very, very tough loss for the Swarm to deal with because you lead 6-0. You have a 6-goal lead at any point in this league. Granted, it's a game of runs, as we always talk about, but you got to hang on a 6-goal lead, Drew.
Yeah, and you know, it's always tough to really say, you know, what went wrong in that loss for the Swarm, but you know, their offense didn't seem like they either were as invested or maybe they thought it was going to be easy moving forward, but they didn't seem to have that emphasis and that kind of sharp and crispness that they had in that first quarter. So again, it definitely stings, but it'll be interesting to see if they can figure out where the turning point really was. You know, we've heard Lyle Thompson say earlier in the year that he doesn't think they've put together a full 60 minutes. And, you know, that couldn't be more true here, where they dominate the first quarter and then the rest of the game is very much up in the air.
So the final again, 12-11, as we take a look around the rest of the league for Week 15. We talked about the two games last night. Philadelphia loses to New England. Georgia eliminates New York from playoff contention with an 11-7 win. Saskatchewan and San Diego both take care of their respective opponents in rather easy fashion and dominating victories. And then, of course, you have two other finals today as Halifax tops Buffalo 11-9, and Calgary hangs on to beat Toronto by a small margin there as well. One more game in the NLL that's going to tip off here in less than 30 minutes as Rochester and Colorado will square off in Denver. And now let's take a look at our plays of the month, brought to you by Geico.
Authored that goal, has the ball again, now to the net, Doby, behind the back and scores! Dane Doby, second of the night, and it's a pretty one.
Can't get a shot off, great play by Merrill, empty net, will it go in? Oh, he scored! Are you kidding me? A 200-foot goal from the captain, Brody Merrill. And the rush. Heading on down on a 2-on-2. Here's a shot by play. They score! Saskatchewan with a 16-15 victory. If this one will count.
Church for McIntosh. Matthews, quick stick.
Are you kidding me?
By Dylan Ward. I don't believe what I just saw.
That's the save of the year right there. With possession, 2 game-winning goals this year. He dips under, looks for another, give off to a teammate. This is Doby. Dane Doby scores! Welcome back, Dane Doby.
Take a look at this replay of Dane Doby. Do it to him, Dane.
So our next contest for the Georgia Swarm, Friday, March 20th at 10 o'clock as they head north of the border to face the top team in the West Division, the Saskatchewan Rush. Of course, you can watch that game on BR Live. Our final once again here tonight from the Infinite Energy Arena is the Philadelphia Wings 12, Georgia Swarm 11, with Drew Petkoff and Mark Zinno. Thanks for watching Georgia Swarm Lacrosse and the National Lacrosse League.